learn. But inshallah, it's a beautiful way to gather in any night of the year, alhamdulillah. So I'll read a few words and then you read after me. And since for a few who haven't been here before, the purpose is just to get through the Quran. So it's just a reader as opposed to a lesson. So it's about getting, a lot of people stutter a lot and then they end up just never reading through the Quran. The purpose is really just to get through it, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
يا أهل الكتاب
يا أهل الكتاب
لم تلبسون الحق
لم تلبسون الحق
بالباطل وتكتمون
بالباطل وتكتمون
الحق وأنتم
الحق وأنتم
تعلمون.
تعلمون.
وقالت طائفة
وقالت طائفة
من أهل الكتاب
من أهل الكتاب
آمنوا بالذي
آمنوا بالذي
أنزل على الذين
أنزل على الذين
آمنوا وجه النهار
آمنوا وجه النهار
واكفروا آخره
واكفروا آخره
لعلهم يرجعون.
لعلهم يرجعون.
ولا تؤمنوا
ولا تؤمنوا
إلا لمن تبع
إلا لمن تبع
دينكم قل دينكم
قل دينكم قل
دينكم قل
دينكم قل
إن الهدى
إن الهدى
هدى الله
هدى الله
أن يؤتى
أن يؤتى
أحد مثل
أحد مثل
ما أوتيتم
ما أوتيتم
أو يحاجوكم
أو يحاجوكم
عند ربكم.
عند ربكم.
قل إن الفضل
قل إن الفضل
بيد الله
بيد الله
يؤتيه من يشاء
يؤتيه من يشاء
والله واسع عليم.
والله واسع عليم.
يختص برحمته
يختص برحمته
من يشاء
من يشاء
والله ذو الفضل
والله ذو الفضل
العظيم.
العظيم.
ومن أهل الكتاب
ومن أهل الكتاب
من إن تأمنه
من إن تأمنه
بقنطار يؤده
بقنطار يؤده
إليك ومنهم
إليك ومنهم
من إن تأمنه
من إن تأمنه
بدينار لا يؤده
بدينار لا يؤده
إليك إلا
إليك إلا
ما دمت عليه
ما دمت عليه
قائما.
قائما.
ذلك بأنهم
ذلك بأنهم
قالوا ليس علينا
قالوا ليس علينا
في الأميين سبيل
في الأميين سبيل
ويقولون على الله
ويقولون على الله
الكذب وهم يعلمون
الكذب وهم يعلمون
بلى من أوفى
بلى من أوفى
بعهده واتقى
بعهده واتقى
فإن الله
فإن الله
يحب المتقين
يحب المتقين
إن الذين
إن الذين
يشترون بعهد
يشترون بعهد
الله وأيمانهم
الله وأيمانهم
ثمنا قليلا
ثمنا قليلا
أولئك لا خلاق
أولئك لا خلاق
لهم في الآخرة
لهم في الآخرة
ولا يكلمهم
ولا يكلمهم
الله ولا ينظر
الله ولا ينظر
إليهم يوم
إليهم يوم
القيامة ولا
القيامة ولا
يزكيهم ولهم
يزكيهم ولهم
عذاب أليم
عذاب أليم
وإن منهم
وإن منهم
لفريقا يلوون
لفريقا يلوون
ألسنتهم بالكتاب
ألسنتهم بالكتاب
لتحسبوه من الكتاب
لتحسبوه من الكتاب
وما هو من
وما هو من
الكتاب
الكتاب
ويقولون هو
ويقولون هو
من عند الله
من عند الله
وما هو من
وما هو من
عند الله
عند الله
ويقولون على
ويقولون على
الله الكذب
الله الكذب
وهم يعلمون
وهم يعلمون
ما كان لبشر
ما كان لبشر
أن يؤتيه
أن يؤتيه
الله الكتاب
الله الكتاب
والحكم والنبوة
والحكم والنبوة
ثم يقول
ثم يقول
للناس كونوا
للناس كونوا
عبادا لي
عبادا لي
من دون الله
من دون الله
ولكن كونوا
ولكن كونوا
ربانيين بما
ربانيين بما
كنتم تعلمون
كنتم تعلمون
الكتاب وبما
الكتاب وبما
كنتم تدرسون
كنتم تدرسون
ولا يأمركم
ولا يأمركم
أن تتخذوا
أن تتخذوا
الملائكة والنبيين
والملائكة والنبيين
أربابا
أربابا
أيأمركم بالكفر
أيأمركم بالكفر
بعد إذ أنتم
بعد إذ أنتم
مسلمون
مسلمون
وإذ أخذ الله
وإذ أخذ الله
ميثاق النبيين
ميثاق النبيين
لما آتيتكم
لما آتيتكم
من كتاب
من كتاب
وحكمة ثم
وحكمة ثم
جاءكم رسول
جاءكم رسول
مصدق لما
مصدق لما
معكم لتؤمنن
معكم لتؤمنن
به ولتنصرنه
به ولتنصرنه
قال أقررتم
قال أقررتم
وأخذتم
وأخذتم على
ذلكم إصري
ذلكم إصري
قالوا أقررنا
قالوا أقررنا
قال فاشهدوا
قال فاشهدوا
وأنا معكم
وأنا معكم
من الشاهدين
من الشاهدين
فمن تولى
فمن تولى
بعد ذلك
بعد ذلك
فأولئك هم الفاسقون
فأولئك هم الفاسقون
أفغير دين الله
أفغير دين الله
يبغون وله
يبغون وله
أسلم من
أسلم من
في السماوات
في السماوات
والأرض طوعا
والأرض طوعا
وكرها
وكرها
وإليه يرجعون
وإليه يرجعون
قل آمنا
قل آمنا
بالله وما
بالله وما
أنزل علينا
أنزل علينا
وما أنزل
وما أنزل
على إبراهيم
على إبراهيم
وإسماعيل وإسحاق
وإسماعيل وإسحاق
ويعقوب والأسباط
ويعقوب والأسباط
وما أوتي
وما أوتي
موسى وعيسى
موسى وعيسى
والنبيون من
والنبيون من
ربهم لا نفرق
ربهم لا نفرق
بين أحد
بين أحد
منهم ونحن
منهم ونحن
له مسلمون
له مسلمون
ومن يبتغي
ومن يبتغي
غير الإسلام
غير الإسلام
دينا فلن يقبل
دينا فلن يقبل
منه وهو
منه وهو
في الآخرة
في الآخرة
من الخاسرين
من الخاسرين
كيف يهدي
كيف يهدي
الله قوما
الله قوما
كفروا بعد
كفروا بعد
إيمانهم وشهدوا
إيمانهم وشهدوا
أن الرسول
أن الرسول
حق وجاءهم
حق وجاءهم
البينات والله
البينات والله
لا يهدي
لا يهدي
القوم الظالمين
القوم الظالمين
أولئك جزاؤهم
أولئك جزاؤهم
أن عليهم
أن عليهم
لعنة الله
لعنة الله
والملائكة
والملائكة
والناس أجمعين
والناس أجمعين
خالدين فيها
خالدين فيها
لا يخفف
لا يخفف
عنهم العذاب
عنهم العذاب
ولا هم ينظرون
ولا هم ينظرون
إلا الذين
إلا الذين
تابوا من بعد
تابوا من بعد
ذلك وأصلحوا
ذلك وأصلحوا
فإن الله
فإن الله
غفور رحيم
غفور رحيم
إن الذين
إن الذين
كفروا بعد
كفروا بعد
إيمانهم ثم
إيمانهم ثم
ازدادوا كفرا
ازدادوا كفرا
لن تقبل
لن تقبل
توبتهم وأولئك
توبتهم وأولئك
هم الضالون
هم الضالون
إن الذين
إن الذين
كفروا وماتوا
كفروا وماتوا
وهم كفار
وهم كفار
فلن يقبل
فلن يقبل
من أحدهم
من أحدهم
ملء الأرض
ملء الأرض
ذهبا ولو
ذهبا ولو
افتدى به
افتدى به
أولئك لهم
أولئك لهم
عذاب أليم
عذاب أليم
وما لهم
وما لهم
من ناصرين
من ناصرين
لن تنالوا
لن تنالوا
البر حتى
البر حتى
تنفقوا مما
تنفقوا مما
تحبون وما
تحبون وما
تنفقوا من شيء
تنفقوا من شيء
فإن الله
فإن الله
به عليم
به عليم
كل الطعام
كل الطعام
كان حلا
كان حلا
لبني إسرائيل
لبني إسرائيل
إلا ما حرم
إلا ما حرم
إسرائيل على
إسرائيل على
نفسه نفسه من قبل
نفسه من قبل
أن تنزل التوراة
أن تنزل التوراة
قل فأتوا بالتوراة
قل فأتوا بالتوراة
فاتلوها إن كنتم
فاتلوها إن كنتم
صادقين
صادقين
فمن افترى
فمن افترى
على الله
على الله
الكذب من بعد
الكذب من بعد
ذلك فأولئك
ذلك فأولئك
هم الظالمون
هم الظالمون
قل صدق الله
قل صدق الله
فاتبعوا ملة
فاتبعوا ملة
إبراهيم حنيفا
إبراهيم حنيفا
وما كان
كان
من المشركين
من المشركين
إن أول بيت
إن أول بيت
وضع للناس
وضع للناس
للذي ببكة
للذي ببكة
مباركا وهدى
مباركا وهدى
للعالمين
للعالمين
فيه آيات
فيه آيات
بينات مقام
بينات مقام
إبراهيم
إبراهيم
ومن دخله
ومن دخله
كان آمنا
كان آمنا
ولله على
ولله على
الناس حج
الناس حج
البيت من استطاع
البيت من استطاع
إليه سبيلا
إليه سبيلا
ومن كفر
ومن كفر
فإن الله
فإن الله
غني عن العالمين
غني عن العالمين
قل يا أهل
قل يا أهل
الكتاب لم
الكتاب لم
تكفرون بآيات
تكفرون بآيات
الله والله
الله والله
شهيد على
شهيد على
ما تعملون
ما تعملون
قل يا أهل
قل يا أهل
الكتاب لم
الكتاب لم
تصدون عن
تصدون عن
سبيل الله
سبيل الله
من آمن
من آمن
تبغونها عوجا
تبغونها عوجا
وأنتم شهداء
وأنتم شهداء
وما الله
وما الله
بغافل
بغافل
عما تعملون
عما تعملون
يا أيها الذين
يا أيها الذين
آمنوا إن تطيعوا
آمنوا إن تطيعوا
فريقا من
فريقا من
الذين أوتوا
الذين أوتوا
الكتاب يردوكم
الكتاب يردوكم
بعد إيمانكم كافرين.
بعد إيمانكم كافرين.
صدق الله العظيم.
صدق الله العظيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Inshallah, we got through quite a lot today. Inshallah, but I thought probably wouldn't get through another page, so I stopped it there. Alhamdulillah, we've reached verse 100 of Surah Al-Imran, which is a big achievement. You notice that with time you'll fly through it. So in your own, you might not have the motivation to read, but we spent half an hour and we read 5-6 pages. You'll notice we'll complete the Quran by maybe even Ramadan, inshallah. So if we're motivated enough, so it'll take about 100 and well, actually, it might take a bit longer than that. No, the maths. But inshallah, slowly, the intention gets made. But maybe we can do a burst in Ramadan where we do it a bit more, inshallah. So today, inshallah, I wanted to cover the next letter of the lawnmower's approach, which is the N, which is the names of Allah Azza wa Jal. And this is something that has personally been a kind of a big interest of mine, because I feel there's an area of research that we can do here that's, I think, fascinating. So N, which is the names of Allah Azza wa Jal, is a point to mention that many names of Allah Azza wa Jal are scattered around the Quran, often coming at the ends of verses, but not necessarily. So what do you have to do for this? Well, basically, let's pick up a couple of examples. Uh, so here, Wallahu shahidun ala ma ta'malun. So Allah is a witness of what you're doing. And then you see in different places, Wallahu ghaniyun anil alameen. And Allah is ghani, Allah is uh, kind of not in need. He's in no need of the entirety of creation. And you see various names of Allah has just scattered at different parts of the Quran. So the first thing to think is, at the end of this verse, why has Allah chosen this name? Now, how many names of Allah does He have? How many names does Allah have? 99? Incorrect. So Allah Azza actually has told us of more than about 129 names. The famous hadith has 99, but actually there are an infinite number of names, because Allah Azza has only told us of an X number of names, of how many there are there. And what's interesting is, out of all the names and out of all the wisdom of Allah Azza and all the words He could have chosen, He chose to end in this specific attribute, in these specific names. So the first thing you'd ask yourself is, why has Allah chosen to end this particular verse with this particular name? So let's look at an example. قُلْ يَا أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ لِمَ تَكْفُرُونَ بِآيَاتِ اللَّهِ وَاللَّهُ شَهِيدٌ عَلَى مَا تَعْمَلُونَ. He says, "O people of the book," which is referring to those who received revelation before the Quran, i.e. the Christians and the Jews. لِمَ تَكْفُرُونَ بِآيَاتِ اللَّهِ. Why do you takfurun? You can say is to be kafir, to disbelieve, but it also has a more probably a more pertinent meaning here, which is, why do you cover up the meanings of the signs of God? Why do you cover up the signs of God? Wallahu shahidun ala ma ta'malun. And Allah is shaheed. Allah is witnessing what you're doing. Now, why has Allah chosen the word shaheed here, which is to witness? Why has He not chosen a synonym, or seemingly a synonym, which is basir? Why has He not said Allah is seeing what you're doing, or sami', Allah can hear what you're doing? Why has He chosen shaheed? And what's the specific connotation of that meaning? And when you compare those, you begin to really dig out deeper meanings, deeper understandings of that. Shaheed encompasses that you've witnessed the entirety of something. Whereas if somebody hears something, he might have missed an aspect of its truth. When a person sees something, he might have missed an aspect of its truth. But a witness entails both the exterior and the interior. So when Allah is talking about this specific attribute, He's used that specific word with a specific meaning. But then you can also ask the question, why has Allah not said Allah is the best judge of what you do? Yeah? Why has Allah not said Allah is the retributor? Allah can punish you. Allah can be forgiving. Allah in many verses ends Wallahu Ghafurun Rahim. Why has He not mentioned forgiveness and mercy at the end of this verse? And you can begin to really dig deeper as to why Allah Azza uses certain names in certain places, and there's a lot of really kind of poignant things that you can derive from that. The second aspect of the names of Allah Azza is not just within the verse, but it's across verses. So you can look at the same name used in different verses, and this requires you to kind of maybe sit with kind of an open book and to flick through. But we did this in the Sunday school. You can see Allah Azza would use the same verse or same name in different verses, sometimes with very similar meanings, but sometimes what is apparently different meanings. But He wants to kind of connect dots between the two. So an example of this is Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Is it Surah Al-Shu'ara, where Allah Azza mentions Surah Al-Shura, I believe, where Allah mentions many stories of the prophets, and at the end of the ayah, um, uh, at the end of every story, Allah uses the same two names at the end of it. Wallahu Azizun. I've forgotten the name now, but he uses the same names at the end of every single story. And it's an interesting, why is Allah repeating the same names? And it's almost like with the repetition of humanity, where we make the same mistakes over and over again, and the same consequences happens over and over again. But yet Allah continually forgives and continually gives a second chance to those after. And you kind of see these lessons. So the first is to dig within the ayah and to see why is this word used in this verse. And the second is to look across ayahs to see why has Allah used this name in this place and where else has He used it and why. And you begin to really understand a kind of a depth within that. And there's lots of other things you can do as well. So Allah Azza Jal sometimes chooses to mention certain names more often than others. So Allah has, we know, 99 names in the Hadith. We know there's other names mentioned in the Quran as well. Why has He used the famous ending Wallahu Ghafurun Rahim, Wallahu Azizun Hakim? You kind of these same endings you see very often, but you see certain names very few and far between and scattered around the Quran. And then you can also kind of begin to do something which uh, is particularly interesting, which is when Allah Azza where He places the name. So sometimes He'll place it at the end, or often He places it at the end, but sometimes He won't. He'll put it somewhere else in the middle, and that carries again different meanings. So it's another reflection, and inshallah, one for you to take away from. But I think next time, the idea of these is that it's something for you to take as a tool, right? So I think my experience of the Quran with many of the people I engage with is they read the Quran almost as this kind of um, this literature that is foreign to them, and even if they're Arab and they understand it, it's almost like a ritual. So you're reading it and often just thinking about the football or thinking about what I'm going to have when I get back home for tea or whatever it is, but you're not engaged in the Quran. And even those who are engaged,
Go to Surah Shura, it will be the one you quoted.
but often what doesn't happen is people don't necessarily engage with the Quran in a reflective manner. And these tools that we've kind of come up with is kind of allow people to um,
Surah 42. You know, the third ayah.
it's not the third ayah. I know where it is.
Yeah, Al-Ghani, Al-Ali, Al-Azim.
It's not this one. I know where it is.
So I meant in the third ayah, fourth ayah, fifth ayah, he quoted different names.
Oh, did you? Okay, I'll come back to that in a second. Um, it's the ayahs وإن في ذلك لآية وما كان أكثرهم بمؤمنين وإن ربك لهو العزيز
Oh, that's
الرحيم.
Shu'ara.
الشعراء. I thought it was the الشعراء. If you let me just go to that very quickly. إن في ذلك لآية وما كان أكثرهم بمؤمنين وإن ربك لهو العزيز الرحيم.
No, Shu'ara before 30. Yeah,
Because in English.
26.
Okay. So yeah, the other thing I was going to mention is often names come in couples, in pairs. So why Allah chooses to couple particular names. So this is the ayah here. وَإِنَّ رَبَّكَ لَهُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الرَّحِيمُ. So at the end of every story, firstly he begins very early on the surah. وَإِنَّ رَبَّكَ لَهُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الرَّحِيمُ. Al-Aziz is to be exalted, to be above and beyond need of what somebody is there. And Ar-Rahim is to be merciful. It's a very interesting coupling of the names. But at the end of every story, it's almost like Allah Azza is saying I have no need for these people. You know, I'm kind of beyond any kind of uh, requirement of their benefit to me or their worship of me. But yet I continually forgive them. I'm Ar-Rahim. And then he goes with Nada Rabbuka Musa. So he mentions the story of Musa, and then it carries on, and you'll see the same verses repeated. Uh, this one's the long one. Surah Musa. Musa is always salam, the long story. Yeah, here you go. وَإِنَّ رَبَّكَ لَهُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الرَّحِيمُ. So he mentions وَإِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ. Indeed in this. So he goes, indeed in this is a sign, but most of them don't believe. And Allah is exalted in might and the merciful. So it's almost as if he's talking about it to them and to us. That he's giving you these really obvious signs that these people have passed before you. Um, and yet we continue to disbelieve. In fact, if you actually just stop and think for a moment and you think, subhanAllah, there's been, for a fact, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of human beings, of years that have passed behind before us, and we know what happened to them. We know the sequence of events of history that passed, and we know the only ones we remember are the ones that were actually good. But yet we kind of struggle to motivate ourselves to be following their footsteps, and we kind of see the same mistakes, but just forget to ever follow their example. But ultimately, yes. So the summary of that reflection, and we'll close with this, is that Allah uses specific names in specific contexts, and He couples them sometimes, and He uses them across the Quran in different places. So the next time you read the Quran and you see a name of Allah, don't just read it in passing and think, okay, why is it, that's an interesting name, or that's an interesting sounding name. But think, why has He chosen that name for this verse? Why not a different name? And what that would do to the meaning had it been a different name? And then compare it across the Quran and see where it's used in different places and what similar meanings it carries. And you will notice patterns and you'll notice interesting reflections for you to take away. And then that really enriches your experience with the Quran, inshallah. Any questions or comments, inshallah? Okay. Jazakallah khair. Inshallah, we'll leave it there for today. Thank you for coming. And sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa alihi wa